Let's talk about Nintendo a little bit. So Nintendo is doing what Nintendo always does, and that is sue everybody into oblivion. Literally everybody. Um, and we have, I mean, how many lawsuits does Nintendo have going at any given time? I don't, they must spend so much money on lawyers. It must be disgusting. Seriously. So I know this has been talked about for a while already, but I just wanted to get my 2 cents on it and kind of go over the situation because I didn't get to talk about it yesterday since I was off yesterday. But Nintendo is in another lawsuit yet again. First, they're suing Power World. Then they sued, I don't know how many freaking like people, like how many Chinese companies they sued all at the same time. And then now you got Genki. So Genki is a known company and website that essentially makes a whole bunch of accessories and whatnot for Nintendo products. And apparently the Nintendo decided that it was in their best interest to sue them. And now the reason why they're suing them is because essentially they're blaming Genki for leaking the Switch 2 and the dimensions and everything under the sun about the Switch 2 before the actual first official showing happened. I had the entire lawsuit in front of me. It is a long fucking file, and I just don't have the time to go through all of it. But I figure I would do a little bit of a cliff note here. So Genki has officially responded. All right, Genki has responded, and this is what I want to talk about. So back in January, a third-party accessory manufacturer was showing off a bunch of accessories for the forthcoming Switch 2 at CES 25. The problem? No one had officially seen a Switch 2 in the wild. Despite plenty of leaks, Nintendo wouldn't unveil the console until about a week after CES. Genki would later clarify that all of its designs were based on the leaked specifications of the Switch 2. Over the weekend, the Game Post reported that Nintendo was suing Genki's parent company, Human Things, claiming trademark infringement, unfair competition, and false advertising. Nintendo claims the accessories could have been misinterpreted as an official partnership with Nintendo. Back in January, Nintendo even had to make a statement clarifying that the gaming hardware that Genki presented as Nintendo hardware at CES is unofficial and was not provided to the company by us, as reported by the Japanese arm of CNET. Even after the harsh response from Nintendo denying the partnership, Genki continued to pump up its accessory plans for the Switch 2. Just before the official Switch 2-centric Nintendo Direct, Genki hosted a Genki Indirect on YouTube. Bro, they're asking for it. They are asking for it. They are asking for it, bro. A Genki Indirect on YouTube highlighting the wide range of Switch 2 products that they were working on. In response to the lawsuit, Genki posted a statement on X stating that while we can't comment in detail, we're continuing preparations to fulfill orders and showcase our newest products at PAX East this week. The new lawsuit from Nintendo makes it clear that there's a limit to the company's patience regarding third-party accessory makers riding on the coattails of a console launch. In addition to the destruction of Genki Switch hardware, Nintendo is also seeking damages it has sustained as a result of defendants' infringement, unfair competition, and false advertising, and that said damages be trebled. That sounds expensive. So, Nintendo, let me put it to you like this. Nintendo, when they sue someone, they're not like Disney, right? Disney, when they sue someone or when they get sued, their entire goal is to make you settle out of court. That's their entire goal. With Nintendo, when they sue you, they want to destroy you. Like, they want to kill you. They want to literally like stop you from existing as a company. That is their entire goal. They don't give a shit about the money. They don't care about settling this outside of court. They want to remove you and everything that you're doing that they view as unfair competition. If you guys notice, almost every single one of their lawsuits always states unfair competition. That is something that they continuously bring up every single time. Because for Nintendo, they got so used to having a monopoly since Sega bowed out of the console race many, many, many years ago that now anybody creating anything remotely close to Nintendo is considered unfair competition. They don't want to have competition. They're used to not having competition. So the moment competition spurs up, they get their lawyers to try to stop it. That's what Nintendo does. But in any case, it's pretty hardcore. Let's bring up the actual lawsuit really fast. I want to go over some of the statements here in the lawsuit here. It's a long lawsuit. So this is their statement that they made about Genki, defendant in its unlawful activities. Genki, defendant Genki operates an online business selling electronic accessories for smartphones, tablets, and various gaming consoles. Beginning at least as early as December 24, defendant embarked on a strategic campaign intended to capitalize on the public interest surrounding Nintendo's next generation console. In January 25, defendant began advertising that it gained unauthorized access to Nintendo's upcoming Switch 2 console, which had not been yet released or even revealed publicly by Nintendo. Defendant also advertised that because of its unique access to a genuine unreleased Nintendo Switch 2 console, it can manufacture gaming accessories that are compatible with the Switch 2. Further, Genki announced that it would sell those allegedly compatible accessories contemporaneously with Nintendo's release of the console. Following its initial claims of access to genuine Switch 2 console, defendant's statements were contradictory and inconsistent, with defendant later stating that it was never in possession of a console. Nevertheless, defendant has since maintained its representation to consumers that its accessories will be compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2 upon the console's release. Now, I got to be real with you guys. I don't believe Genki in the slightest that they didn't have a console. I absolutely believe that they had a console. I got to be real with you. I believe that Genki 100% had a console in their hands. I don't know how, but they got their hands on one. Or at the very least, they got the exact specifications of a Switch 2, which is damn near the same as having a console in your hand. Because if you have the exact specifications of everything, the Joy-Cons, the actual screen, the entire system in general, the dock, if you got specifications for everything, you could pretty much make whatever you want to make. Especially since, let's be real, it's not that far off. It's not that far off from the first Switch. The Nintendo Switch 2 is not that vastly different compared to the Nintendo Switch 1. Seriate said that they had a mock-up model, not an actual console. Okay, so I can believe that. So let's go with this scenario. Genki allegedly or potentially could have gotten the exact specifications for a Switch 2 console, and then Genki goes and 3D prints a Nintendo Switch 2 console based on those specifications, so they can use that 3D printed model to make their accessories from. Does that sound a little bit more believable? Do we feel like we're getting a little bit closer? You know what I mean? To what potentially could have happened here? Because I feel like that's probably what happened here. I don't know if they say that. I haven't read the entire lawsuit. This is a long fucking lawsuit, but I feel as if that's more likely to what happened instead of actually getting their hands on a console. It says ensuring the compatibility of defendant's accessories would not be possible unless and until defendant had access to a Switch 2 console or to proprietary technical specifications, neither of which Nintendo provided and or authorized to be provided to the defendant. Therefore, either defendant is not in possession of a genuine console and thus cannot claim compatibility with enough certainty to make its advertising claims in good faith, or defendant unlawfully or illicitly obtained an authentic Nintendo Switch 2 or proprietary technical information about the Nintendo Switch 2 prior to the console's release to the public. Additionally, defendant has used the Nintendo Switch marks in connection with the marketing and promotion of its unauthorized Nintendo Switch 2 accessories, misleading consumers into believing that it offers functional, authentic, and authorized Nintendo Switch 2 products. Bro, they are cooked. They are cooked. They are absolutely cooked. I'm not even kidding. At this point, so it is one of the two, right? It's basically they had a console or they 3D printed one based off technical information that was given to them by some leaker that Nintendo did not authorize in the slightest. They didn't authorize either scenario. But I wonder the legalities of it, because then it becomes a situation was, okay, well, the information was given to us by someone who worked for you. We're not the ones that leaked it. You have someone who leaked it. So it ends up being a situation. So why are you going after the person who got the information and utilized it versus the person who actually leaked it? if you have a problem with this, you should probably go with the person who leaked it. But then that's essentially admitting that Nintendo has, a lot of holes in their company. I don't know. I don't know the legal ramifications of this, but I got to tell you, it's an interesting one. This is very interesting all around. Genki's wrongful actions began in 24 when Genki first, basically, it's a timeline. We already went over all this. Oh, look at this. They got fucking screenshots. Hold on. Interesting. It began in December 24 when Genki first began promoting its accessories for the highly confidential, unrevealed, and unannounced Nintendo Switch 2. For example, Genki attempted to connect with GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen to discuss the launch Switch 2 accessories Genki was working on. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. They got the GameStop CEO. Oh shit. Then on January 1st, 25, Genki's exhibitor page went live for the 25 Consumers Electronics Show, publicizing Genki's intention to host a booth media briefing on January 7th of 25, in which it offered to discuss any information about the not yet announced Switch 2. May have as well the stuff the defendant is making for it. This is bad. This is bad, bro. I don't know, man. You got the GameStop CEO in this shit. That is, listen, this is very clearly an overreach by Genki, in my opinion. Okay, like you know who Nintendo is, you know how Nintendo is, and if you had all of this information, you could have just worked on it behind the scenes, and then once the Switch 2 was officially announced, you could have then later afterwards announced your accessories, maybe a few days after, or whatever the case may be, in order to try to make it a little bit harder to believe. But it's clear that Nintendo is going to go for any little bit that they possibly can, even if Nintendo is overreaching here. Even if you guys feel like Nintendo is overreaching here, at the end of the day, they 100% were going to do this. They know that I don't know, man. I don't know how you're Genki and you don't know that Nintendo is not going to do this. Now, Genki is a pretty large company. I'm sure they have good lawyers, and I'm sure that they are probably referencing those lawyers before they even announced the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. I got to imagine that they probably did. I got to imagine they probably spoke to their lawyers before announcing anything and setting up anything. That would have been the smart thing to do, right? If you are going to not wait, at least you should converse with your lawyers and ask them what you should and should not do. But at this point, Nintendo is going to go for Genki's throat. It's only a matter of time. Nintendo is absolutely going to do everything they can to take down Genki. They're going to try their very best. I don't know if they're going to succeed, but the smart thing for them to do would have been to just be fucking quiet. You know what I mean? Like, you got this information. You're already at an advantage. Why would you try to go for even a more advantage? That is greed. Greed got you here. And now greed got Nintendo down your fucking back when you could have just been quiet for a little while longer. Again, that's my opinion. Maybe I don't understand the full legalities. I'll admit that. But I just feel like in this situation, when you already have an advantage, you need to learn when to be quiet and to hold your cards. They didn't want to hold their cards at all. They wanted to be right at the forefront. I remember this clip. I remember this thing going around. Genki also displayed a video at its booth showing a purported 3D render of the Nintendo Switch 2, which it later also posted on its website. This is where they fucked up right here. This is where they fucked up right here, because this is the video that got leaked all over the place online. And people were like, oh, this is a Nintendo Switch 2. And then Nintendo had to come out and say, no, it's not. Like, this is not from us. We didn't make this render. Come to find out, Genki made the render, which is crazy. Genki's presentation and statements garnered significant attention from the media and public, resulting in confusion among consumers as to the validity of Genki's statements in association with Nintendo. The media, especially those having direct contact with Genki at CES, promoted the impression that the 3D printed mock-ups were accurate replicas of the Nintendo Switch 2. Primarily, many consumers expressed belief that Genki was sent a model of the Nintendo Switch 2 by Nintendo itself, or received approval from Nintendo to see the new hardware for the purpose of developing accessories. The issue of whether or not Genki was authorized accessory manufacturer was further debated throughout Nintendo Switch 2 Reddit community threads. So, again, Nintendo is going after Genki, and I know a lot of people are going to think this is really dumb. This is really minuscule. This is not hurting Nintendo in the slightest. But I need you guys to understand that Nintendo does not give a fuck about that. Nintendo does not care about whether or not it's small, minuscule, not a big deal. They don't care. They are ninja lawyers for a reason. This is why they are called Nintendo Ninja Lawyers. It's because they send their lawyers after everybody. They literally practice lawfare. You guys know that, right? Like Nintendo practices lawfare. If any company out there utilizes lawyers in the most negative way, it would be Nintendo. They are always out to sue somebody. I think they get off on it, or at the end of the day, I think maybe they get paid for. I have no idea. They seriously just want to sue everybody at this point for anything. So I honestly hope that Palworld is able to win their lawsuit, even if it's partially. I hope Palworld can win their lawsuit on Nintendo, because somebody needs to knock Nintendo down a peg, because Nintendo has gotten so used to not having competition that the moment anybody is bringing any sort of competition in their direction, they want to bring out their lawyers to try to stop it, and it's fucking pathetic. It really is. It's fucking pathetic at this point. Like, you should let your system, you should let your accessories, the one you make, you should let your stuff, everything speak for itself, and competition is fucking scaring you so much that you want to throw out your lawyers every chance you get. You don't even think about it. You just immediately throw out your lawyer. It's so ridiculous, man. That's why Sega leaving the console wars was such a big mistake, because that allowed Nintendo to get the massive head that it has today. It really is. It really is. Nintendo needs competition. I agree. Which is why Palworld, it was so beautiful to see Palworld fucking felt Nintendo. Again, no specific ill will towards Nintendo, but they needed that. Nintendo needed Palworld to wake them the fuck up. Simple. They seriously did. And instead of waking up, what did they do? They sent their lawyers after them like they always do. Very typical Nintendo, obviously. We knew that was going to happen. It was only a matter of time. So in any case, I'm going to drop the entire legal document in the chat right now. If you guys want to check it out, you're more than welcome to. It's extremely long. I'm not going to be able to go through all of it in today's video, not even close. But they bring up X threads, fucking screenshots. You got the GameStop CEO involved. Look at this. They got the screenshot of whoever the fuck this is for Genki. Like, they got everything in here. This is way more interesting than Smash and Alyssa Mercante, in my opinion. Way more interesting. So you can read it in your free time and check it out afterwards and see what you think. But in any case, that's basically it for Nintendo versus Genki. Fucking Nintendo, man, I swear. They are honestly ridiculous.